This presentation was paid for by CGTN. The opinions, views, and claims expressed are those of CGTN and may not necessarily reflect those of CNBC.
Economy, innovation, culture, exploration. Discover the vibrant pulse of China's economy and dive into the rich tapestry of its culture. Embark on a journey of exploration with Meet China. Here, your journey begins.
This is a bird's eye view of Beijing, and in here, let me welcome you to another exhilarating journey with Meet China. In today's program,
we'll take you on a captivating exploration of China's coffee renaissance, uncover groundbreaking innovations in wastewater recycling, dive into the cultural heritage of dragon-scale bookbinding, and check out a new Chinese architecture style rooted in cultural renaissance.
Now, China is traditionally known for its tea-drinking culture, but China has also grown into the world's major coffee consumer and producer, with the market expanding for more than 15% annually. And our first stop today takes us to the misty mountains of Yunnan province, where we will unveil the unexpected rise of China's coffee revolution. Now, get ready for an aromatic adventure.
Capsule. Hand grind and pull over. Instant. Drip. And liquid coffee concentrate. I am among 300 million coffee consumers in China. After a decade of sipping, I'm finally venturing to the cradle of China's coffee renaissance, Yunnan. After a 3.5-hour flight and a 2-hour scenic bus journey, I've reached Pu'er, the heart of China's burgeoning coffee culture.
I'm Junfeng in Yunnan Pu'er, trying to find coffee growing foods. And I find them. These are coffee plants, coffee trees. Year 1, baby coffee tree. Year 2, teenager coffee tree. Year 3, adult coffee tree, ready to produce.
Yunnan produces 98% of Chinese coffee. What coffee plants need are all here. Sunshine, abundant rainfall, and mountainous terrain. At altitudes over 1,000 meters, coffee growth slows, yielding beans dense with flavor. But I must be careful. Navigating through these coffee bushes demands a leap and a climb.
What's special about Yunnan is that it doesn't have a very large plain. It's all mountains and hills. So farmers here have to plant these coffee trees along the mountains. They have to be planted by hand, one by one, and picked one by one. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work.
Well, my day is going to be filled with the excitement of planting a coffee tree. I was met with a humorous farmer who revealed that I was planting...
This is a mango tree.
A mango tree. What? However, this mango tree is not an error. It provides essential shade to the neighboring coffee trees. Another gift Yunnan offers, biodiversity.
Yunnan's rich biodiversity and favorable microclimate create ideal conditions for cultivating a diverse range of high-quality coffee beans.
Official figures show 600,000 farmers grow some 1.2 million mu of coffee in the province, yielding 3,000 yuan per farmer a year. Case in point, Mr. Wei Shuihua, a young man from Zhejiang, now in his 3rd year of coffee farming in Yunnan.
I sell my coffee bean through my WeChat account. Basically, my input-output can be balanced. I could make my ends meet in the 1st year and make some small profits in the 2nd year.
I'm gonna eat one of this. Chew them and get rid of the skin. The skin is edible. You get the beans, and you're going to drink from this.
But not before coffee beans' journey of washing, roasting, grinding, and brewing. In 2023, Yunnan harvested 146,000 tons of beans. To satisfy escalating demand, China imported over 150,000 tons, 23% increase from 2022, mostly raw beans like these. These.
Raw coffee beans. Yeah.
And these.
See how many they have. Thousands of tons.
In this lab, I'll roast a selection of raw beans sourced from Yunnan local farms.
Now I got a special tool to take some raw beans from 3 different directions, so the beans quality would be even. It's about 180 degrees now. Put them in.
Love this sound. Still green.
Hear the noises of bleep, bleep, bleep. Yeah, they're roasted. Nice and brown. Okay, I'm gonna pull out. Let it go. Oh yeah, I think it's a bit overbaked. More baked than the sample.
Start grinding.
This machine is superb.
Perfect ground.
Very well baked. Only 95?
After grinding some roasted samples, I discovered they were a perfect medium roast. Yet my dark roast holds its own, less acidic and fruity with a pronounced bean flavor, while the medium roast boosts more acidity and fruitness, just different. I also mastered the art of sipping, dispersing a spoonful of coffee across the mouth to engage all taste buds in assessing the bitter-sweet balance. This nuanced tasting process is essential for major coffee houses like Nescafe, which has been invested in Yunnan since 1988.
Yunnan produces basically Arabica coffee and a lot of specialty coffee today. We're proud that Nescafe has contributed to the start of this journey and will continue, of course, supporting not only the quality production but also the export. Because for farmers, the most important is stability. Today, 70-80% of what we purchase from here is actually exported thanks to our network.
After over 3 decades of cultivation, Yunnan's coffee production is both stable and esteemed. It's attracting an increasing number of consumers and baristas in search of exceptional coffee sources.
Now, many baristas are very proactive in coming here. They travel directly to the origin to find the beans they want, collaborate with coffee farmers to produce experimental batches suitable for barista competitions, or search for beans with higher market potential.
Because the retail side of the business has become very mature, many coffee producers are now focusing on the upstream raw material supply chain. They want to seize the opportunity as soon as possible to make their products and pricing more competitive. We estimate that by around 2030, the coffee market size in China may reach approximately 1 trillion yuan.
In 2023, Chinese coffee consumption reached 12 cups per person annually, up 2-fold from 6 years ago. Yet it lags far behind Japan's 200 cups and America's 380 cups. This suggests a huge potential market and demand for premium coffee from Yunnan and globally. For me, to brew a cup of local coffee seems the perfect way to wrap up my Yunnan visit. I'll just enjoy this moment of reflection before moving on to my next journey.
China's passion for this beloved brew has ignited a burgeoning coffee industry. But an intriguing development in the world of coffee making involves the use of recycled sewage water. This seemingly impossible has become a reality thanks to China's ambitious pursuit of innovation in the wastewater industry.
This cup of coffee is made from wastewater.
I heard from friends that you can find coffee made from sewage here. I was curious about it.
I think the taste is quite good.
The coffee smells good.
You might be skeptical about the idea of drinking water that used to be sewage, swirling down in your kitchen sink or even toilet. But rest assured, the technology used here will make sure that water is safe to consume. And that is to say, you can find the dirtiest water in the world and then transforming that into refreshing drinks. The water is from China's first concept wastewater treatment plant. From the outside, it's difficult to tell if it's artistic architecture or a sewage plant. The factory director here showed me around to see the process of sewage treatment. I can barely smell a trace of foul odor throughout the journey.
This plant can process 20,000 tons sewage daily, and the entire process takes about 20 hours.
The uniqueness of the plant is not just about its architectural style, but also the cutting-edge technologies it applied. The plant discards the old idea of burning energy to remove organics, isolate nutrients, and expel phosphorus. Instead, it drew inspiration from closed-loop, energy-neutral, and toilet-to-tap systems.
When we talk about sewage treatment plants, first impressions may be that they're ugly and smelly, but it should be a place that creates value for people. So we hope to create this concept plant to change people's stereotypes about sewage treatment plants.
The average capacity of this plant is only 20,000 tons of wastewater per day. That is compared with 20 million tons of used water that China treats daily. The idea demonstrates that China's ambitions to become the leader rather than a follower in the wastewater industry.
There are currently over 5,000 sewage treatment plants in China, and our treatment rate has reached a level of nearly 98%. That also indicates that China has made tremendous achievements in pollution control and urban infrastructure construction. Meanwhile, achievements in water protection can boost economic development. We did research regarding the Yangtze River Economic Belt, which showed that investment in sewage treatment facilities increased along with the development of the region's economy.
The government has set targets of reaching 95% wastewater treatment for all county-level cities. There is substantial demand in China for technology that can clean and recycle water.
Improving the quality of used water will lift people's living standards. That's because sewage is an important water resource. Many cities are actively promoting sewage regeneration, as it can be used for watering gardens, washing cars, or being replenished into rivers.
Experts also say the upgrading the country's sewage treatment capacities will serve a crucial role in China's efforts to pursue high-quality development along the Yangtze River.
The Beijing Central Axis. It is a south-north line that stretches through the heart of old Beijing. And along with the ensemble of archaeological sites on the line, it was mostly inscribed onto the UNESCO World Heritage List. And behind me is the Palace Museum. It's also known as the Forbidden City. It was home to China's emperors for almost 500 years. And this is where I would like to engage you into our next story. It's about a revival of an ancient craft. It's called dragon scale book binding. Let's meet Zhang Xiaodong, a cultural inheritor that breathes life into exquisite tomes.
A long piece of paper is used as a foundation, and pages are pasted on it in a sophisticated order. When you roll the paper, it becomes a hand scroll, and when you open it, the pages tilt up, fluttering when a gust of wind blows in. This is how Chinese depicted the dragon scale-bound books during the Tang Dynasty.
This description allows us to quickly form a picture in our mind. Wow, that is really beautiful. It's not static, but dynamic, with a rustling sound of the wind blowing through your ears. So I think the dragon scale bookbinding is not only an existence with a history of over 1,000 years, but also the future of books, like science fiction books.
The century-old craftsmanship dates back more than 1,000 years. But back then, dragon scale-bound books were reserved only for royalty and highly educated elites. 40-year-old Zhang Xiaodong has been working hard to resurrect this ancient bookbinding technique for 15 years.
I see a book as an architecture inhabited by words and poetry. It is a space, an installation, and a sculpture. It is not only used to read, it can also be felt by our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. When we do some reading, we also feel the material, shape, and even feel the sound when turning the pages and the ink aroma. So I also called the book a spaceship passing through time and space. The book is a combination of time and space where we can cross over at will.
From papermaking to movable type printing to the printing press, people have long received wisdom from the written word. Over 1,000 years ago, the dragon scale binding technique was a major breakthrough on the basis of hand scroll style, as well as a predecessor of modern books. That simple act of turning a page made all the difference in the world.
The pages of dragon scales are pasted in rows, which in fact greatly shortens the length of a hand scroll. For example, the first dragon scale bound book I made is the 32-section Diamond Sutra. If it were a hand scroll, it would be more than 70 meters long. But by using the dragon scale binding, the bound part is only about 4.6 meters long, so it's a great concentration. And by simply turning the pages, we see words appearing in front of us. It's like a retrieval dictionary. So back then, it was a great progress in technology and science.
Today, Jiang continues to cut and fold thin pages of a story into precise sheets and layers them on top of one another as his ancestors did in ancient times. He carefully places chapters into frames, and together, scales are bound to form a complete image. And that's when the visuals come in.
I believe readers are firstly attracted by images instead of characters. These paintings are like images from lens, forming a space in your mind and making it easier for you to understand words between lines once you start reading. So I tried to do something on the interlaced part of each page. I saw it as a space, and it'd be a waste if I just left it as it was. Even though the part is only 2 centimeters wide or 1.6 centimeters wide, it's enough. If a book has 100 or 200 pages, its interlaced parts, pros and cons, can definitely bear 2 complete paintings.
In 2008, Jiang successfully completed his first brand new handmade dragon scale bound book, Diamond Sutra.
To be frank, at that moment, I burst into tears. It took me 2.5 years to make it, during which I experienced so many difficulties that I thought I'd never finish it. But I'm a really stubborn man.
Jiang Xiaodong revels in ancient cultural legacy. This gigantic 8-volume A Dream of Red Mansions is another surprise Jiang gifted to the world. It's called Jinglong bookbinding. Jing refers to the menstrual fold used in temples in the Tang Dynasty, and Long the dragon scale bookbinding. Inspired by 3 ancient elites in Chinese history, Jiang combined the 2 binding styles into one.
In order to print this novel, Chen Weiyuan carved hundreds of thousands of wooden movable types word by word and then edited it into this book. It was an extremely long and costly project. So compared with them, I spent about 4.5 years producing this book, which is very short. You know, Cao Shuqin devoted his entire life to writing A Dream of Red Mansions. Chen Weiyuan gave everything he had to publish Cao's book with 120 chapters, and Sun Wen spent 38 years painting for the novel. Every one of them had made it to the extreme. So for me, I just simply invited them to come to my studio and have an afternoon tea.
That would be a super cool cup of tea with a beautiful sense of romanticism. I give it a try to experience the joy of the ancients for the first time, turning the pages of a dragon scale bound book. Like the 0 and 1 in binary, the original code for constructing the virtual world, words or images were historically seen as the original code of people connecting with nature. And these particular codes have led Jiang Xiaodong to a whole new 2.5-dimensional world where dragon scale bookbinding meets contemporary art.
Architecture possesses a unique spirit, serving as a mirror that reflects the essence of its time and place. In China, bold new designs are beautifully intertwining tradition with modernity, giving rise to iconic structures that dot China's vast landscape. Join us now on this journey as we discover how this new Chinese architectural style is not only sustainable, but also deeply rooted in cultural resonance.
From the great Egyptian pyramids to the Acropolis of Athens, architecture is the symbol of great civilizations.
There's a huge amount in China that still reflects the past. Old travelers' accounts of China, they say, you come into China and immediately you can tell you're in China, and that's because of the buildings. The speed of building, the speed of change is absolutely extraordinary. I don't know what it can be like, really, to be an inhabitant of Beijing, to see your city going kind of rushing past you at 100 miles an hour.
Since its reform and opening up in 1978, China's become a magnet for global architects, a place where they can let their wildest imagination run free.
Following the reform and opening up, I remember Western architectural styles became popular in China. Architects welcomed and adopted them in buildings, especially skyscrapers. The industrialization of modern Chinese architecture was refined during this process. It was an opportunity as well as a threat.
The greatest problem that we all face is balancing sort of the past and the present. You know, what we should preserve from the past of our own tradition and, you know, what we go forward with, and it's remarkably difficult.
61-year-old architect Wang Shu grew up in this period of change. Now, he aspires to something more original with Chinese roots.
Architecture is art. It has incredible influence to the people's life. Architecture itself is the nature. You can, it's so beautiful. They are in the wind. They coexist with the plants. It's incredibly beautiful. All over the world, the traditional architecture has this spatial nature. That's why I think I should do something different.
In 2012, Wang Shu became the first and to date, the only Chinese winner of the Pritzker Prize, popularly known as the Nobel Prize in Architecture. The judges said he was awarded for producing architecture that is timeless, deeply rooted in its context, and yet universal.
Hi. Nice to meet you. This design is for 1 year, and construction is...
We met at Wang Shu's latest creation, the Hangzhou branch of the China National Archives of Publications and Culture. A milestone in his career. As China rose to become a significant global power, its leadership began to derive greater confidence and inspiration from its past. This branch of the National Archives, along with the other three, is aiming to build a comprehensive collection of ancient publications to pass down to future generations.
Every era has its own features, shaped by factors such as productivity and customs. They define the architectural style of that era. Things are quite different these days. It's pointless for us simply to copy tradition, but we can still learn a lot from the experience of the ancients.
So this roof is very interesting. It gives me a traditional feel, but at the same time, I think it has a modern take.
In the history of Chinese architecture, such a roof structure hasn't been seen before. But it's not an entirely original creation. I based it on the design of a Song Dynasty bridge. Here, we use the structure in a building, but it's still related to traditional architecture. No nails. The wooden joints are all fixed with tenons. In this pavilion, there's not a single nail.
So that's why I learned a lot of things from ancient China, from the tradition.
Because the Liangzhu World Heritage Site is nearby, this building was restricted to under 15 meters in height. How could we make it appear tall and majestic? Everyone wanted it to be on a grand scale, since this is a national archive. Traditional Chinese architecture could make it happen. Chinese and Western approaches are different. In the West, they go for monumental structures. But in China, we prefer the layer effect. In its design, it strongly emphasizes horizontal layering. Starting from the main gate, layer upon layer, and again. The more layers there are, the more impressive it looks. There's no need for it to be tall.
I could see now that Chinese-style modern architecture is not just about imitating a traditional building structure. It's also about embracing ancient wisdom and understanding the way Chinese people look at nature. In the past 10 years, this new approach to architecture has become evident across China.
More and more architectural designs are attempting to reveal a connection to Chinese traditions while integrating contemporary requirements. For example, more natural materials are being incorporated to align more closely with traditional Chinese architectural concepts. This approach is gaining popularity. This is a very bold attempt. We want the whole world to hear China's voice and recognize its approach to nature and sustainability. So in this complex, we used rammed earth for the external wall of the central building. Someone asked me how long it will last. I can guarantee it for 1,000 years. It's a millennial legacy, definitely. This building is meant to host a dialogue between civilizations. This will be its function in the future. Genuine dialogue takes place when people find what you create interesting. It's through this process of exchange that cultural confidence can emerge and promote a genuine discernment of one's own culture.
From Eo Mingpei and Wang Shu to the next generation of architects, they are proof that China's architectural future doesn't have to discard its past.
Well, that does it for this edition of Meet China. In next week's episode, we have
an inside look at Formula E electric car racing series in Shanghai, explore the bustling Yunnan flower market in Yunnan province. We head to a forest city in northeast China where efforts are underway to boost growth and create jobs. And we meet a hearing-impaired artist who draws inspiration from the Monkey King, Wukong.
Stay tuned for more captivating stories that showcase China's dynamic blend of tradition and innovation, only on Meet China. I'm Lily Lu. Thanks for being with us, and I'll see you next week.
Discover the potential. Witness the opportunities. Experience dazzling exhibitions and captivating events. Explore groundbreaking innovations and future-shaping industries. Stand at the crossroads where the cities of tomorrow meet timeless traditions. Meet China, where every story is a new discovery.
This presentation was paid for by CGTN. The opinions, views, and claims expressed are those of CGTN and may not necessarily reflect those of CNBC.